Welcome. Man. It's wonderful to see you again. You now have the honor of being the director of the Hurricane Center for the worst season ever, or at least the most active season ever. What'd you learn in the last year, Ken?
What a relentless season. I mean, the word relentless has come up so many times. I mean, 30 named storms, setting a record, 170 years of record keeping. So it's not just this short-term thing here, going back in time. So and we did that during a pandemic. So when I look back at the season, I think about the impact to people, not just in this country, but other countries. But even here at the Hurricane Center, taking the steps that we needed to take to keep this place safe. Moving computer consoles, doing shift changes from somebody in the parking lot to somebody inside. And we had tape around the hurricane specialists. Nobody was allowed to go inside that tape when they were on duty. So we took all those steps to keep ourselves safe. And I look back at the record season in a pandemic, and we did it. I think we did what we needed to do to keep safe, and we kept this place up the whole season.
Yeah, I always hate to jinx it, but I also say, look, it can't get any worse. Of course it can. Let's talk about this year's forecast before we go any farther. How are things looking as we're heading into June?
You look at all the parameters. You look at the global patterns. You look at the temperatures of the ocean heat content. Look, everything indicates above average once again. It's going to be busy, so let's be ready.
Well, let's talk about how we do as a group of collective meteorologists. I always tell people we do a pretty doggone good job with that track. I've been in this building on watch here for 21 seasons now. The track has only improved. The thing that trips us up from time to time continues to be rapid intensification, strength of the storm, how long it's going to hold together, that sort of thing. Where are we now in forecasting strength, Ken?
9 systems last season in 2021, rapid intensification, just incredible. So that happens. And a lot of those are close to the coast. We're getting better. I think if you look at some of the modeling, you look at some of the data that we're getting from the aircraft, the hurricane hunters, both at NOAA and the Air Force, some of that data getting into the models, I think we're doing better than we ever have associated with the intensity, but we don't have the improvement like we had with, looking at the actual track. So we always talk about planning for one up. We still have more work to do to get better with that intensity. But if it's a situation that you have rapid intensification, if you get stronger really quickly, it becomes a real problem when it's close to the coast. So we have to relate that to our timelines. You have a situation like that, that's less time to prepare. So we have to be ready early in those situations. So I think we're making some headway there. We got some plans going into the future with some modeling, but we are making a difference. It's just not quite as quick as what we did with the actual track.
Okay. I know we lost a lot of souls last year after the storm. And so we tend to focus on, oh my gosh, the storm is coming, evacuate the coast, get yourself inland, shelter, shelter, shelter. But we seem to lose a lot of souls after the storm, during cleanup, during trying to stay cool, that sort of thing with generators. What is your big message for this season?
You got to be informed, after the storm. Look, the danger is not over for quite a while, even after the storm. So if you go back to Hurricane Laura, think about this, how powerful. A 17 to 18 foot storm surge is just staggering, unsurvivable storm surge. And historically, storm surge is the leading cause of fatalities in these tropical systems. We lost nobody in that hurricane from storm surge, but we lost 16 people because of carbon monoxide poisoning. So know how to use the generators, know the safety, look it up, Google it, look online. There's so much information out there that you could get on this safety, but it's not just the generators. It's using a chainsaw for the first time. It's power lines that are still active on the ground. There's so many different factors that are dangerous. So remember this, the danger is not over. Even after the storm, you still have to be informed, you still have to be safe.
Okay, you mentioned the storm surge normally takes most of the lives. How are we doing with the new storm surge modeling? Is that still improving?
It is. We have a brand new upgrade coming into this season. The pandemic didn't slow us down. We're continuing to improve new things, and the storm surge model is one of them. And it's going to have more influence with the structure of the storm. Structure has so much to do with the storm surge. It's not just the intensity, the angle of approach. It has so much to do with the structure. Better structure information is going to be getting into the storm surge model, and not just a better storm surge forecast. This is exciting. I think for storms that we're real confident in, ones that are behaving and really we have confidence in, we may be able to extend those products, the storm surge information, from 48 hours to 60 hours ahead of time in some of those systems. That's big news, because if you talk to any emergency manager along the coast, Every hour counts. If we could give them some extra time to make some big decisions about evacuations and give people more time to make those decisions, we want to do that.
But can you think you're going to do that this season? Go
We
60
will.
hours?
And storms that we're confident in, you're going to see that in 2021.
All right. That is great news. Hey, question I want to ask is the luck of the last few seasons. That's going to be one of my features that I have to write and have to do. So I always tell people, like 4 years ago, I went crazy on the air as Hurricane Matthew was steaming towards my market. And it looked like it was going to be an age-defining. We're going to talk about before Matthew and after Matthew look in Brevard County. I was scared to death. It's the most fear I've had of any storm that in the last 20 years, because I thought it was going to take a direct Category 4 hit on my coast. And then I had to come out the next week and go, we lucked out. We did. And so I've always told people if that storm had come 10 miles farther west, it would have been an age-defining storm. What do you think about the factor of luck? How lucky have we been in the last few seasons?
A couple of things to say there. I mean, you look at, Matthew, but I also look at Dorian too. I mean, you think about a small shift in the global pattern would have put that stall that was over the Bahamas, it could have stalled over South Florida. So you really look at little wiggles matter. This is such a big thing that we have to get out there. Little wiggles matter. You move a storm 20 miles, that could be the difference between hurricane force and not hurricane force, or that could mean the difference between a foot of storm surge or 10 to 15 feet of storm surge. 20 miles can do that. So think about the 2020 season. Move that global pattern. Move that big high pressure over the Atlantic much further towards the east. Those storms would have recurved, not maybe in the Gulf of Mexico, but would have impacted Florida. It doesn't take much change to make a big difference on the ground. So think of it this way. You got to prepare every single year as if you're going to be hit, because you can't count on what happened in the past to get you through the future.
Ken, I think you just gave me a new line. Normally, I stress that a hurricane is not a point. I think we're going to say, look, a hurricane is not a point, but little wiggles matter. I think I'm into it. I like that a lot.
It works. It is true. It's scientifically correct.
I like that a lot. Okay, hey, let's do one big wrap-up question here, and I'll try to do this every year. If you could put a billboard in downtown Orlando that everybody would drive by on I-4, 25 words or less, what is that one big billboard going to say? What's the one thing you want everybody to know?
Just because you're not on the coast doesn't mean you can be a big, dangerous, life-threatening impact inland. You got to be ready, even if you're not on the coast.
So you said not even though you're not on the coast or not in the cone?
Not on the coast. You can be well inland and still get just an incredible amount of impact. So just because you're not sitting there along the coastline doesn't mean you're going to have some big impacts from these hurricanes.
Inland matters.
Inland matters. There you go. That's the bumper sticker.
Anything else you want to add on this eve of hurricane season 2021?
Look, we all got to do this together. I think we're going to be ready here at the Hurricane Center. If we can get everybody prepared and ready, we're in this together. We can get through another season together.
Hey, man, great interview, Ken. I appreciate your time.